Welcome to the Zodiac chat line. For our full moon in Scorpio show, I'm your host, Tanae, of course, and always my girl Cassie is with me. Happy Mother's Day, girl.
Thank you, and happy Mother's Day to you, my
Thank
friend who
you.
mothers
Thank
us
you.
all.
Yes. The
Mother.
listen, mother the maternal, the one person who has not had the fortune of giving birth, but has, been the maternal person, maternal inspiration to many. So thank you. Well, we have reached the depths of depths with this full moon, huh?
Yeah.
We are going to give you a quick little rundown of where the planets are, so you can just, prepare yourself accordingly. Currently, the sun, of course, is in Taurus, and that does give us our opposing full moon in Scorpio. But next week, on May the 20th, the sun will move from slow Taurus to quick, mutable Gemini. Mercury is, of course, the full moon is in Scorpio on the 12th. Mercury is currently in Taurus. Again, Mercury next week will also, or in a couple weeks, will move on the 25th of May into its very favorite home sign of Gemini. Along with that, we still have Venus in Aries, Mars in Leo. Fire signs don't want to be left out. Jupiter in Gemini. We currently have Saturn, which has been in Pisces for a little bit, but y'all brace yourselves because Saturn will be moving into Aries on the 24th. And of course, Saturn is another outer planet. And so that transition is going to be felt very much collectively. Saturn's normal ruler is Capricorn. So this is not a comfortable spot for Aries, but we'll see how that's going to work out. Uranus is in Taurus still for a little bit longer. Neptune also is in Aries. So again, another outer planet. Just
Just,
had it. Um,
yeah.
and Pluto is now currently retrograde, of course, in Aquarius. We are still in the beginning stages of Pluto and Aquarius. We've been talking about this for months, but we are witnessing a lot of collective revolution. And then Pluto will be retrograde in Aquarius for the next couple of months through almost the fall, pretty much October of this year. And then, of course, the North Node is still hanging out in Pisces right now, trying to bring some sense of healing and imagination to us all. But we'll see how that works out. So, girl, what do you think about where these planets are and what's going on with them?
We have definitely been we've been through an interesting couple of years astrologically, certainly an interesting last few months. And this is the Scorpio full moon I'm excited about as a chance to really try and dig up some whatever old stuff needs to be extracted and unearthed and composted for the greater good. That's what I'm here for, because I think Gemini season is going to be really spicy based on all of these outer planets moving into fire signs. Like Neptune just got to Aries, Saturn is about to get into Aries. Mars is in Leo, just aiding, abetting it for a little while too. like, and once Gemini gets into play, I I think it's going to be a really interesting time with all of the emotions that are being inflamed in the United States right now. And instead of tempering influences like Pisces and Taurus that sort of dampened the fire, now we're getting mutable air, which means like just a puff of air here or there to get. And I'm optimistic that we get the right fires going and we burn towards something better, right? Like, and we have agency here in how we direct our energy and what we say and what kind of connections we make and how we resist the negative forces in our lives. But right now is the time to clear your psyche for.
Clear your psyche, clear your space, clear your emotional baggage. Full moons are always all about releasing, and a full moon in a water sign, especially a water sign with the depth of Scorpio, it may un it is possible to unearth some feelings, some traumas that you have pushed down. And, I think Cassie and I have both found a lot that pushing things down like that, especially those deep emotions that need to come to the surface, they will arise at the most inappropriate time if you don't manage it yourself. So I would encourage all of you to, if you need to cry, if you need to cuss a few people out, do it at your own risk. But holding on to that with internally is not beneficial for you at all. You're the one that gets hurt the most without being able to release all of that. um this is energy is going to be a little bit chaotic, so you have to understand what can you control. And disruption is definitely needed in the time that we're in. I mean, we see that we are witnessing disruption in the places that we most thought stability, but I think we have to counter that disruption with how we're going to move as a collective. And a lot of deep-seated anger and resentment and feelings are coming to the surface. We can see that in a lot of different ways. And I would encourage you to lean into some good discernment and good boundaries to make better choices. Um, you know, Lean into your intuition a little bit more, leaning into those feelings. Those of us that are air signs, feelings aren't always the forefront, but they there. I don't care what y'all say about it. Air signs have a lot more feelings. They just intellectualize them. But for everybody, you know, just feel what you feel. Um, I would encourage all of my kinfolk to look at all the beautiful things that we are celebrating right now in the midst of the triggering chaos, like the Met Gala, for example. The theme this year was tailored for you, super fine tailoring, celebrating Black style and dandyism. And if none of those of you who don't know what dandyism, it's back in the day when a lot of the slaves that worked closely with the house people would be able to be dressed in fine tailoring and fine clothing so they didn't look like slaves, but they still were beneath. And Black people realized when you dressed the part, people respected you in a different way. So back in the 20s and the 30s, Black people, they would get dressed up in their finest gear. And to this day, Black people are the best dressed folks. Okay. We're just going to say that hands down. But shout out to, of course, Tiana Taylor and Janelle Monáe. Those were my two favorites. I mean, there were some good ones in between, but those women, or those folks, my apologies, um, w- top tier. Having Law Roach, he styled quite a bit of people. Paul Tazwell, and then of course, Oscar award-winning costume designer Ruth E. Carter did a collaboration with Tiana Taylor, and so that's how we got that. But just knowing that that's where Black people are focused, and I think that that's a great thing, is not to get wrapped up in all of the propaganda and all of the ways that Black people were normally triggered with negative images and get outside and protest and do this. Um, you can see Black people defiantly being joyful, doing any kind of line dance possible, because why not? Because why not? Because music and just because we got to live our life regardless of what everybody else is doing. So, yeah, that was my speech. Okay.
I'm here for all of that. It makes it it makes blatant racism so much more ridiculous when Black and brown excellence is on display regularly. And it is the Met Gala was gorgeous. I'm super excited to go on a date night to see Sinners, and I know you've seen it. Uh, I We're in such a fucking weird time. We're in such a weird time. Why do we have to be here? Like, I am 40, almost 1 years old, and I grew up with TLC and Janet Jackson and like Michael Jackson and uh, Stevie Wonder. And like, why are we re-litigating the question of like everybody, including and especially Black people in America, are extremely excellent? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how we got here, and I'm glad to see, um, you know, the Black creativity just thriving in such a disgusting, gross environment.
Because one thing black folks gonna do is thrive, okay? You can put us wherever. Nah, that I don't even think you guys realize back in the day, black people had scraps, but they made some good old dinners with that, whatever it was. They made a meal. That was the first lesson in seasoning, because y'all, that wasn't from you, wasn't from y'all. So that's I'm joking, but not really.
No, no, you're not. And you shouldn't be. It's true.
Ah,
That's true.
I mean, I'm just
If
saying,
you
I'm
didn't
just
know that,
saying.
that's
Saying.
triggering.
But
You need to
overall,
do some
guys,
reading.
put your crystals outside if you want to. This might be a really charging um Scorpio. I mean, at your own risk. If you don't want to, it's fine. You can always just use some smudge them or whatever. But full moon energy, people get a little wackier. So say a little prayer before you walk outside, before you interact with people. And realize that sometimes the shit that people put on you is their shit. It is not yours, and you don't have to wallow in it. You are very allowed to kind of give it a little you might want to keep that over there. We don't do that over this side. And I feel like you just need to tell people that. I feel like we are in a time where people need to learn about to know about themselves. Like the time for niceties is like I don't even like nice. Like I'll be kind to you if you're kind to me, but I don't have to be nice. Nice is forced, nice is performative, nice isn't real. I can be a kind human. I don't have to be nice. Nice means I'm gonna let you step on my boundaries because it'll make you feel comfortable. And I hope that everybody realizes that every person of every race is allowed to exist. Every person of every gender, sexuality, everybody is allowed, religion, everyone is allowed to exist because we were created not by some specific random white person. We were created by a higher power spiritual being that has no race. We ain't seen that. Ain't none. Can't none of y'all tell me y'all didn't see what any of that looks like, but it's there. So we're all here. Why can't we just exist in a world to where we, as a collective, try and be better? We should be better towards each other. It's really fucking weird not to be collaborative, not to be kind to each other. I don't think I could see a world where Cassie and I aren't friends. And Cassie and I came from very different backgrounds, yet similar, because what? Detroit. Um, but I can't see a world where we wouldn't exist as friends. That just doesn't because Cassie don't judge me for what I got going on. I don't judge her for being a straight person, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, she found her man, so we gonna let her have it. No, just
I'm bisexual. He
okay, yeah.
knows that.
Like, either way, we still homies.
Right.
Okay, we still homies.
Yeah.
And if you knew her whole name, you'd be like, is she white for? No, I'm just playing. Uh, but I say all that to say, like, just I encourage you this week to really find good discernment and boundaries. Mother's Day does bring up a lot of maybe good and bad memories for a lot of people. I think we as a society have been taught that motherhood is makes a woman, and you that's not always true. A lot of people have feelings behind motherhood, whether they're the daughter, the parent, like, mother-daughter relationships are a very interesting dynamic, and some people have good relationships with their mothers. My mother is not here, so that is a whole nother, dynamic that I've had to live with. But shout out to my mom. Happy early birthday. I love you, girl. Taurus. There you go, Tauruses. More amp for you. But with all that said, we are going to move on to our signs as what natural disasters, because that's what it feels like right now. And we are back to regularly scheduled programming. So I will, of course, be doing fire and air, and Cassie will be living her dreams in earth and water because she loves it. So I'm going to start with Aries. And to me, Aries is going to be a volcanic eruption because it starts stirring underneath the surface. And for me, an Aries is always mad. But Like, but underneath the surface, like sometimes you
Yeah.
can see it on their face, but they always got something stirring, and
Yeah.
then it comes out of nowhere and then it's over. It is that's pretty much it. And I have an Aries moon, so I can say that. Okay, you next.
So 100% accurate. Mine is Taurus. My for Taurus is earthquake because they seem the most stable of all the earth signs, but when they inevitably crack from taking on too much pressure for too long, it comes out of nowhere and completely destabilizes everything in a matter of minutes. And then they're like, oh, I'm glad I got that off my chest. It's like you just burned everything down. Like we with no warning. That's crazy. You broke up our whole shit. And yeah, but most of the time you could build a whole house on a Taurus, stable as fuck. But it just takes one time.
Until they're not.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a good one. Okay, for Gemini, I have avalanche because it is triggered spontaneously. And if you know anything about a Gemini, you don't know anything about a Gemini. You never know what they're going to say, what twin you're going to get. You never know when they're going to crash out. And that is a scary little crash out. I don't care what nobody say of all the people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and an avalanche just comes up and buries everything in sight. And so that's why a Gemini is an avalanche.
Okay, for Cancer, I picked a tidal wave. It's uh it's not predictable in the sense that it happens like every day or every week, but it's like you're going to get some of those with Cancer and it's going to be overwhelming. It's going to overwhelm them, everybody around them, and it takes a while to kind of like chill out. But then eventually they do. They go back to their regular, they've got a regular cadence of moods, and usually you can pretty much know how to swim within it safely. But every now and then, tidal wave.
Put put on your mask. Okay, so for Leo, I have solar flare because it is a major explosion on the surface of the sun. And right, because one, Leo's ruled by the sun, and their explosive rage burn the shit out of you.
Fuck you up from 4 planets over.
Like, because they are the center of the universe, right? They are the
Right.
solar.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
all right.
That's funny. Virgo is a dust storm because it's Earth, but it's very much air too. And it's like, um, instead of the excitement of maybe I could get up and fly away, you're like, ow, 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 all this dirt is hitting me. It's painful. It's like just 1,000 knives.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Libra is a cold wave because it is a rapid, significant drop in temperature within 24 hours. And if you've ever met a Libra that went cold, it feels like that because they're like the charmers, but let that switch flip, boy,
Mm-hmm.
you gonna feel
Mm-hmm.
that cold wave, and it's like it happened overnight, and you say, where the hell, what the hell, what the hell?
Truth. Scorpio is an iceberg collision. You already are treading in cold water with a Scorpio. You know this already, and there are landmines that will just blow your mind because you think it's a little landmine, but it turns out it's a whole thing.
Yeah. Well, right behind that, Sagittarius is, of course, a wildfire. Why? Because it's unplanned and uncontrolled. And that is literally mutable fire. Where is it coming from? I don't know. How long is it going to burn? Who the fuck knows? Why is it over there? Because it wanted to be. And it's unplanned, which is even worse. Like it's just, it's spontaneous, but yet predictable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and wildfires, they have been known to take out forests, multiple. So
Yeah.
shout out Sagittarius.
That's right. We love them.
Stomp them
Oh,
embers out, y'all. I keep telling y'all, stomp
yes.
them. We love you. You know who you are.
Right.
All of
Uh,
you.
from mutable fire to cardinal earth, for Capricorn, I picked mudslides,
Mm,
as they're gonna bury you so thoroughly you become just, they absorb you. They
mm,
take whatever and
mm-hmm.
fortify themselves with it ultimately, while just wiping out anything that was too weak to be there.
Yo, bad.
Not their fault.
That's exactly.
You shouldn't have
You
even
should
been
have,
on that side of the
right, right.
mountain.
Why was you here in the first place? Well, Aquarius, hailstorm.
Ah.
Because layered and irregularly clumped together, and hailstorms are like that comes from hail. Like you can have hail, but to have a hailstorm, um, just like the dust storm, the pellets of ice that would come from an Aquarius, I would stay at home. And I was reading like hailstorms have been known to just demolish, damage, wind, like nothing is safe.
Mm-hmm.
So I continue to remind y'all, tread lightly.
It's true. Um, Last but certainly not least, Pisces is a sinkhole. Um, they just like
Fact,
show up and they're like, meh, and like suck in a chunk of
fact.
regret. Yeah, and completely unpredictable. Batshit. An intersection, a child's room, like some wetlands. You're like, oh, that makes sense. But then it's like Arizona. Like, what? How did you even get here?
Pisces.
You don't know.
They never know. They're so far, they find where they want to be, regardless of whether we want them there or not. Ooh, those are some good ones. So, if you guys are listening or watching this, let us know what you think if that's your sign or any of your
Text
placements.
us.
It doesn't have to be just your sun placement. This can go
Mm-hmm.
for all of the placements. Sun,
Mm-hmm.
moon, Venus,
Rising.
Mercury, all that stuff.
Yeah. Text us.
Yeah,
Send us a note.
yeah.
Three
We'd
one
like
three 416 9541.
we'd
What'd you
like
think
to,
about it?
you know, we'd like to know.
Yeah.
Like to know. Um, yeah, with that said, we're gonna move right along because this seems like this is what we're doing today. Moving right along. Okay, now I know this is bright,
Opposite the
but
spirits of Taurus season. Spirit.
uh this is the White Light Oracle by Alana Fairchild. We love Alana Fairchild. Just so you guys can see, the back is a wolf. That is one of them.
Mm.
Gonna do this quick because y'all know how Cassie be, y'all. But so you can see, so you can see what some of the cards are. They're absolutely stunning. I mean, this artwork, I that's like one of the things that I really enjoy about a lot of tarot cards is the actual artwork, because it's up for interpretation always. But it just to be so talented to be able to express an oracle
Yeah.
through the artwork. And this one, Atlanta Fairchild, has really great other decks if you want to look her up. But we are rocking and rolling, and Queen Cassie over here will let us know whenever she is ready.
Go on.
Get it. She said, "Go off, girl. Go off." Ooh, I think I've had this one before. Okay. The vulva, Volva, not what y'all think,
Mm.
of Sedir, Seidr.
Mm.
Looks very meditative. Oops, sorry, hopefully you couldn't see that. It's number 30. I do realize that just so we don't get, banned or anything.
Oh, titty balls.
Yep. So, gonna show you that. And I'm just gonna read because if I hold it up, that might be a problem. What I love about this book is that it does give you an explanation of the card. It does tell you like, why you select the card, but it also has a healing process, which I think is the most beautiful thing about this is We have talked about that for the full moon in Scorpio, is that when it comes up, you want to release it, and that helps you towards healing. So, without further ado, your inner spiritual power can heal circumstances in your life and our world in ways greater than you realize. Journey within to gain clarity and conscious redirection of your inner energies toward what you wish to manifest. Do not try to control what is happening. Instead, work to bring positive influence to bear so that you may contribute constructively towards shaping the outcome for the greatest good. Okay.
Yes.
Already, we didn't already start off because I told y'all, Margaret, y'all be playing with my girl Cassie. She knows what's up. From the Norse traditions of Scandinavia comes the sorcery of sadir, the practice of cracking open an egg in order to read and also shape the future. The egg is a symbol of infinite divine potential and the beginning of new life. Sadir is a mysterious soothsaying or visionary practice, which also involves shamanic healing to divine an appropriate pathway through times of trouble and communal strife. Mm. through through prayer, chant, and binding magic, as well as visionary practices in an altered state, of all of which are supported by focused collective intention, a powerful healing takes place. The appearance of this oracle indicates that your soul talents, whatever they may be, can be of influence in the world. If you dedicate yourself to personal development for the greater good, you can contribute to the spiritual evolution of humanity. Even if our intentions are pure, believing we know what we should have, even if our intentions are pure, believing what we know what should happen to whom and when is the working of the ego and not the soul. We may want the best for all beings, but we cannot know why their path is unfolding as it is or what their soul needs to learn. Sadir is a practice of shadows and spell casting, binding and release, which can be used for higher purpose or personal gain. It dwells upon the borders of morality. The spiritual maturity of the practitioner will determine whether its effects are for good or ill. This oracle advises us that good intentions are not enough to ensure the outcome of our efforts is beneficial. We need the wisdom that comes through surrendering into divine intelligence. With an awakened heart, it is possible to be a clear channel for spiritual light in this world, dedicating our soul talents to overcoming hate and divisiveness.
Damn.
Traditionally, the practitioner of Sadir was a spiritual leader known as a Volvar, a soothsayer or seer. Um, a Spokana, a woman of prophecy, or a Seokona, a woman of magic. She would not work alone, but called upon community members to empower the practice. When we choose to align our actions with our heart's truth, we become the spiritual birth mothers and founding fathers of a more spiritually advanced humanity. Tremendous creative power is generated when a group comes together in focused practice. If you seek to work with others, be aware of the positive potential and proceed with integrity and care. The patron goddess of Sadir is Freya, the Norse goddess with an insatiable appetite for pleasure, life, sensuality, the finer things, and unconditional freedom to be as she chooses. She is also the goddess of war, hence, she is not afraid to enter into battle nor love. Her husband, Odin, is associated with prophecy, inspiration, and ecstasy. When he is away from her, she weeps red gold tears. No stranger to suffering or ecstatic pleasure. Freya is the divine vulva. She reminds humanity of both our innate spiritual power to embrace all of life and the inner spiritual resources we have to make it through any difficulty without compromising our hearts. The art of Sadir is one of collective dreaming and doing. It is the ability to move in darkness, to become wise in our own potential, to become manipulative, controlling, and therefore negative, and to outsmart that by consciously choosing to bring love, freedom, spiritedness, and passion, the hallmarks of our presiding sorceress Freya, into our lives. The message of this oracle is that you are able to bring a positive influence into whatever situations or circumstances unfold in your life. Dedicate yourself to goodness. Believe in the power to affect positive change.
That's excellent.
Just meditate on that. We're not even going to talk about the healing because I felt like A, that was a lot to take in. But once again, y'all, just so you can see that. Um, well, felt like that sums it up once again. Um, just leave it up to Cassie. Uh,
Yes, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, everything we just talked about, releasing, positive, collective, not being triggered by the bullshit, So,
Hmm.
you
Positive in spite of all of it and manifesting better things with your collective.
they're saying burn it down and bring something new to it. I'm here for it. But we will see you for the new moon in Gemini. So please release what you need to for this full moon. Everything will be okay. We don't know anybody else's plan but our own. So make sure you just on your path on the right way. You can't worry about everybody else. You can't worry about everybody else. If we all worry about ourselves, we wouldn't even be having these conversations. Too many folks worry about other folks.
It's
And
true.
with that, once again, Cassie, happy Mother's Day to you. Your
And
kids
to you
are so
as well.
lucky that you decided to be their parent, their mom. A lot of people would love to have you as a mom, and they are just so amazingly lucky.
Oh,
Hope you
that's
have a great
kind.
rest of your day. As always, I love you, girl. We'll see y'all next time. We out of here. What?
Peace.
Peace. It's all love.